Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we got ourselves a track from an act named Jonas Kolb titled An Afghan Called Child Death. And if we switch over to here, just from the title alone, this looks to be some pretty intense imagery and music. We're going to listen through it from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's do it, let's go. Immediate.
Understand that by your defloration, you are completely worthless to Allah. The chain is hundreds of kilometers long, and if you want to go, I'll pull you back. In the jar that the monster carries like a skull are 1,000 little baby teeth, and under his arms stuck a black Quran for a disgusting prayer. For infant death is the first step in the Afghan rite.
I mean, it's just incredibly uncomfortable to listen to. There's such a tension to it. It's claustrophobic. Not least the imagery on the screen, the editing style, you know. It's almost like it's trying to brainwash you or something like that, you know? I mean, the production itself is fantastic. It's really interesting. The filtering choices, the leveling, the different vocal textures. The scale choice as well for that sung melody over top. And yeah, That was an Afghan called Child Death, off of the upcoming album, by the way, titled Diamantin. I'll put a note at that start if I didn't mention that then. And we're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Jonas Kolb, titled An Afghan called Child Death, off of the upcoming Diamantin album. In this section, I'm going to provide an overall song analysis of everything from lyrics and vocals all the way through to studio production, as well as any applicable constructive critique, and then finally my general thoughts from a listener's perspective. But before we go any further, what do we think this track is about? I mean, the lyrics are disgusting. Objectively, they're horrific. And I think something to note about lyrics is that they don't need to be pleasant to read in order to be affecting. I think it's just dependent on the direction that you go in regard to what the song is about, right? Like, again, if you're not a fan of strong language, probably best to skip this part to the next bit. The first line being, "I fuck you so you make us a mixed breed dog doll." It's just so, like, it's clearly effective because it is so blunt and in your face and unfiltered. My dick is the sword on the throat of your fatherland. My dick is the serpent in the mouth of your mother tongue. I speak a cage and my hands grow around your breasts. It's like, it's very much kind of, I don't know how much I can get into without YouTube getting kind of upset with me, but it's kind of, at the very least, associating a sense of control over this person, as well as discussing purity of race versus mixed races kind of thing there. It'll be okay, but didn't you understand that by your defloration you are completely worthless to Allah? So clearly this is sort of aimed sort of in that direction as well, in terms of, again, purity, depending on who you sort of do stuff with and everything like that. In a jar that monster carries like a skull or 1,000 little baby teeth under his arm, stuck a black, like, it's ferociously horrific, and there are going to be people that listen to this and they're going to be unhappy about it. I don't think lyrics need to be written in a way that is pleasant for everyone. I think, arguably, if lyrics are pleasant for everyone, they might be a little bit less interesting, but I feel like there's also an equilibrium there, though I try to shy away from telling people how to be creative. It's just from a personal perspective, I don't know if I enjoy reading about this. Like, on all fours you crawl the animal like in front of me, twist your ankles like clock hands. Again, like, there are some really, the way it's written is clever. They're clearly, the actual writing itself, the words, how they link into each other, is clever. It's just the subject matter that I personally find a bit detestable. Lend me your pelvic bones as a bowl for my rainwater. Feed me your tits, raspberries, crowns. Am I your dog? It's just, oh, it's awful. And it continues. I'm not going to go into that last verse there because I don't think YouTube's okay with the C word, but like, it just sounds like an extremely abusive relationship predicated on shame and doubt and making someone feel terrible about who they are and what they've gotten with and whether they'll get into heaven at the end. And especially like the imagery of them strapped into a chair, understanding the simulation they've got themselves involved in, it's just incredibly uncomfortable. So I think that's, considering the entire audiovisual experience with this, I believe that is the intent, is to create something that is awful to both look at and listen to. At least the music, the way it's written, is claustrophobic, tense, and discordant, and there's plenty of diminution, but then there's also this weird beauty to the way that the lady or the child, I'm not sure, the sung parts there, and that harmonica melodic minor across the last half of the track going into the fade out at the end. I think it not only maybe is a scale that people associate from the part of the world that, like, the Afghanistan and stuff like that, but it's like the one kind of beautiful thing within the piece. And I think that it's interesting that it doesn't have anything to do with the screamed parts or the spoken parts and those elements there. That on its own is appreciable. I think it was initially put in there to sort of harken a further link towards maybe the culture that we're discussing within this, but nonetheless, yeah, it's definitely going to be a divisive piece. And if it's indicative of the rest of the album, potentially, I feel like the album itself will be divisive as well. And to be clear, like, even if I don't agree with the stuff that's spoken in this, I think it's, again, it's abhorrent subject matter. It doesn't mean that especially if it's in a way where it's describing someone else, or if it's like a fictional thing, it doesn't mean that it's less effective. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the effect of it is palpable. And if this was deliberate to make the listener feel like that, then I feel like they succeeded, if nothing else. Yeah, I think the kind of black metalish kind of screaming that we have throughout a lot of these in the harsher parts is well handled. They clearly have the technique to be able to handle that. And I think that the spoken parts as well that we have and those sort of monologue-ish kind of elements there, we sort of explain things in a bit more of a calming way as opposed to not, is also a nice contrast. I think it's also just like the literal rest of the music across this 4 minutes 22. You just have this diminished chord that is on strings for the first few kind of seconds of it, and it's just you just know you're in for a bad time at that point. The blast beats continue on the drums beyond that, which is quite a common thing for them to do within this. It's just barreling and it's just relentless. You have some filled out guitar parts doing tremolo picking, I think, with a whole crap ton of reverb on them. We also have some other sort of hand drums or snare elements there or fills at around the 30-second mark where the spoken part is, and you've got people speaking around the outside or on the sides there for a sort of a 3D effect there, like you're surrounded by the music. It's incredibly solid music production and sound design because it sounds like you are surrounded by the music with the way things are positioned. There are people around you. It's almost like you're going into madness. And the way that things warble almost like you're watching a film in reverse is just really quite amazing, to be honest. Like the work they've done into the sound of it is fantastic. The way that the feeling of it integrates with the lyrics, and just to have this throughout a lot of it, and those sort of like blast beatish parts on the drums and the grinding guitars going between two different notes. You know, we do adjust elements such as around the 150 mark where we go double time 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or half time, should I say, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 time. Although half time is not really the right word for it. It's more like we go from to eighth notes from 16ths. And at some points we don't even have the snares at all. It's literally just filtered drums and maybe snares, but with a high cut on it. When we go into, again, the sung harmonica melodic minor with more of the spoken parts around 250, and we just have hi-hats, open hi-hats and snares, it's just a nice sort of change of pace there. And since that, it's nice to have the drums a bit more gentle and add more diversity or variety to the actual percussive element of it. And I think there are several different chord progressions or note choices there with the bass notes and stuff like that and the overall harmonies, which is good to sort of show different sides of the piece there, different elements of the paragraphs. It's also testament to Jonas that they knew to come down at the end to sort of have the person in front of the temple there after their experiment. I think also the strings go around to the side has a sort of Egyptian feel, like it could even be the Egyptian scale that they're using, I'm not quite sure. But just the strings are beautiful sounding at that point. And it's almost like we need to go through that horrific moment to get to a point of clarity there. I still feel like this was some sort of motif for brainwashing or something like that, I'm not quite sure. But But it's cool to have, again, going back to 1 minute 12, just sort of clarify, variety of drums there, the droning guitars, just add to the noise there, as well as the whooshy kind of noise synths and stuff like that. There's a bass line underneath there, primarily pushed by the sounds of the kicks there, but enough to kind of be heard there and provide a ground bed. And yeah, honestly, you can hear all the different elements within the mix. And if you listen through it like a second time, you start to pick up different changes and adjustments and little kind of nuances there within the arrangement. Clearly, there's been a lot of work put into it by Jonas Kolb. No, for absolutely. I respect the attention to detail, the effect kind of have like the work put in to create a cohesive experience, even if it's unpleasant. So yep, several different chord progressions and bass lines thematically, minor leaning. There is a major tonality, like a calmness to, I think that's just with a parallel major or something along that line at the end, I'm not quite sure, but a lot of it's either diminished or minor, representing the misery or the suffocation of it. I'm gonna need more time to figure out the rest. Studio recording, mixing and mastering is very well done. I dig the compression, the sound design with the panning decisions there, the way music surrounds you in the headphones and the stereo field there. There were resonant frequencies, but they were deliberate. Use of noise effects like synths on the side there. Vocals were presented clearly, whether they were the black metalish kind of screamed elements there with the blast beats, or again the spoken parts with some sort of radio filter or kind of grit on it to make it sound a bit more sort of drusty or driven there, like almost like a nightmare. And yeah, nice and loud bass compression, sounds like it's very loud. It's very loud there, but there is production-based dynamic range there. It's compressed when it needs to be, but it does breathe when it needs to. In terms of applicable constructive critique, it's like for what it is and what they were trying to do with it, it works, but from a final general listener's perspective, it just wasn't a comfortable listen to be honest. I didn't know if I enjoyed it. I don't need music to sound the way I want it to in order for it to be done well. I can separate that as a reviewer. But would I listen to a song like this again? Probably not. It just isn't my jam. There might be people who agree with what's discussed in the lyrics, or there might be people who like the feeling that it provides for them from a listener's perspective, but I just don't. There's talent involved though, and there's been a lot of care taken to create this experience, so I have to nonetheless appreciate that and wish everyone else involved all the best future of the musical endeavors. Because thank you for watching my review of this track from an act named Jonas Kolb off of the Diamond Mountain album, upcoming one titled An Afghan Called Child Death. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as you need the help more than ever with the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.